Well, howdy there, fellas. I'm back. I am healthy. Nothing happened to me. I just took a little break from YouTube. Yeah, it's a little break. But as a business owner, as a small company business owner, you got people doing their job. People for certain positions. But once they drop the ball, you sort of got to keep that ball rolling, in other words. So that's where I disappeared. Anyways, as I said, I'm doing alright. Nothing happened. Everyone's healthy and wealthy, as I like to say. I want to talk about something. It's along the lines of highway usage and determining if it's highway usage. And then you have personal usage, or should I say light usage and heavy usage. Let's put it that way. You know, you got a guy that drives to work every day. My goodness, rough road. You got a guy that drives to work every day and racks in those miles, or you got a guy that pulls a camper or a company trailer every day and puts in those miles. And yeah, that's the same point. And that's it, you know. So let's compare. I got a 2014. That's my truck that I only drive 99% of the time. And I have a company truck that's 2014. You know, my truck has 123,000 miles on it. Well, I rounded it off. 122.8, so whatever. And my company truck that my guys drive is a 14, was bought later. My truck was bought in May of 2014, or March of 2014. And my guys was 4th of July. I remember that one really well. So there's some months that I got a head start, but that truck is 330, 340 on the miles, I believe. Right about there, and I'm at 123. You know. What happened to my miles is first 4 months of ownership, I put on 29,000 miles. I did some math, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm gonna be in deep crap. I don't think this truck will make it. Let's say an average guy finances their truck for 5 years. Yeah, this thing's gonna have well over 500,000 in 5 years. That's not the way I do my stuff, but I'm just saying an average Joe. So theoretically, I won't have a nice, neat, clean truck like I wanted to for the next 5 years. So I started buying older trucks. So what happened, initially when I was buying this truck, I had no intentions of growing my hot shot company the way I grew it. As I said, excuse me, guys kept knocking on my door, and I've said that story other times, so that's a story for another time. End result, you know, I backed off of hot shotting myself and started throwing in trucks and trailers, and off my hot shot company expanded at quite the rate that I was anticipating on, but it was for the better and everything's good, everybody's happy. So I backed off the mileage on my truck, and back to the point of that truck, you know, if we were to go into that truck on the interior, it's hard to compare because mine's leather, that one's cloth, but that thing isn't shot. All the plastics are there. Nothing's busted, broken, ripped, nothing. The thing has, you know, closer to mid-300,000 on it. That truck got upper ball joints at 300,000, give or take a few miles. You know, my truck got upper ball joints a little over 100,000. Why? Because I run these tires. There's such a heavy offset, guys, and that all plays a role. You know, like, oh, it's just highway miles. Yeah, but how was it used and what did it have? So that's when I buy trucks. When I used to buy used trucks, and mark my words, I ain't buying no more used trucks. That is it. Done with used trucks. I'd always look for a stock truck. That was my #1 search. The year, whatever I was looking for, but I had to start out with a stock truck because these tires, like, I'm a hypocrite, you know. Well, for starters, I never intended on putting wheels on my truck. I got bored in Tri-Cities, and my buddies got on my case, and Paul went out and bought wheels and tires. Shortly put. I like the way everything looks. I like the way everything is. Besides the ride and the longevity that it kills your suspension, that's it. So there you have it, you know. I don't expect. I'd love this truck to do just as good as my other truck with 300,000, but I don't expect to do it that good. Why? Because I mean, I got these heavy rims on it with a heavy offset. It has a lot more leverage on the bearings, on the you know, all the ball joints and whatnot. So you guys gotta, you know, consider that. And not all you guys are going to be running business, so it's not worth it for y'all to go and buy a brand new truck. So I'm trying to help y'all. So look at the, as I said, at the interior as a telltale sign. You know, if that interior really doesn't show for the high miles, you're onto something that's really nice. Because, you know, 300,000 in and out miles, that interior is going to be destroyed. I mean, bare minimum. You can argue with me all day you want. If that seat cover didn't, or excuse me, that seat didn't have a seat cover, and that truck has 300,000 in and out miles, yeah, I don't know. It ain't happening. It's going to have a rip. It's going to have a tick. Steering wheel, door panels. They're going to get beat to crap. You know? So, back to those 2 points. Is it really a highway miles? And I'm talking about used old trucks, you know. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that a 2015, right now it's 2018, and 2015 with 300,000, is it or is it not a highway truck? Of course it is, you know, but I'm talking about those older trucks, and some of them are well worth the money that they're asking, you know, that the owners are asking for, and some of them are just a huge money pit, you know. Man, this is a tight corner. I don't like this corner. So, interior. And then you have exterior, you know. Talk to the owner, see how many ball joint sets he went through. Look at the wheels and tires you have set up. Look at the U-joints. See how many U-joints they've changed out. Guys, mark my words, believe me or not, I don't care. But my 300-something thousand mile truck still hasn't had a set of U-joints changed out in it. And we do inspect them. It's not like we're blindfolded, we drive till things go flying. Obviously, we do preventative maintenance and crap. But if there ain't no plan, then there ain't no plan. It's just a solid U-joint. What are you gonna tear it out? Leave it alone. U-joints just don't go kaboom, you know. Unless they've been somehow damaged and they're all greasy and, you know, they're leaking all their, you know, all their grease escaped. There's really no reason to change it out. If it's not, you know, it's have play in it and it's dry, don't mess with that U-joint. But stuff like that, man, I think the biggest telltale sign is the interior, though. The truck, it'll tell you what kind of miles, because if average Joe was driving that thing to work and back every single day, like at 50 miles a day and, you know, 5 miles of personal, I'm talking 50 miles a day to work and back and then 5 miles of personal, that's, yeah, more or less in and out. It doesn't, you know, throughout the years they accumulate, and that's how you get your high mileage. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna have to put you on pause real quick and come back to you. Alright, boys, I'm back. Anyway, so, you know, more or less, I know this is not no guru, you know, step-by-step process, you know, heavy use, how, you know, is it really highway use, or is it light use or heavy use? But I'm just sharing with you guys my experience and the telltale signs, you know. It just comes down to terrain and the load. Another thing is leaf springs. Take a good look at leaf springs. Make sure they're not cracked. Every single leaf spring. It's not like if one cracks, all of them are gonna crack. Just take a good look at that leaf spring pack and shine a light on there. Make sure you're not seeing any cracks. Typically, not all the time. Typically, if one cracks, you look at a leaf spring pack and like one's just sticking off to the side. Obviously, you see that's the problem. It's cracked, detached. Can't stay in line. But when I bought my 99 in 2000, I believe it was in 2010, I bought a 99 with 300,000, and I was the first one to do any suspension work besides the track. It's not a track bar. It's I'd call it the alignment bar, the tie bar that ties both of the wheels. And that's the only thing that was changed out on it, as far as I could tell, you know. Any aftermarket ball joint I ran across, they all had greasers. Well, these guys didn't. So these, I mean, this truck was shot up front. I mean, it was, you're milking a cow and driving down the road type of deal. You know, I mean, it was a bad wheel, you know, steering wheel play. So when I bought it, shortly after, I put, I think, $700 into parts. Replaced the whole front end, you know, suspension, bushings, yada yada, the whole 9 yards. And oh, the shocks were replaced though. old rusty looking Bilsteins, and that's when I got introduced to Bilsteins, guys. That's a good company to go with for shocks. So, you know, there are those clean trucks, and my buddies are like, Paul, you got to steal. I'm like, dude, I paid $5,000 for $300,000 or 300,000 mile truck. That sounds about right. He's like, no, man, you just can't come across those kind of deals. And of course, they're telling me this a year or two later when, you know, this is a prime example, so listen up. When my buddies went out and like, oh, I got 100,000. Oh, I'm not even at 100. Oh, I have 120. It was like the spree of Dodge Rams in Spokane. I don't know what the heck happened. Like, within a year, I think 7 of my buddies got Dodge Rams and diesels and whatnot. And, you know, it wasn't even a year later that most of them were sold. Within 2 years, every single one of them was sold but mine. Believe it or not. And I was the guy like, oh, you know, Paul, you're stupid for having 300,000. No, guys, realistically, no. Like, logically think about it, you know. I'm going off a little bit off the subject here. Mileage is it's an indication, okay? Don't get me wrong. The mileage, the price has to reflect the mileage. But it's just leverage that you have on the seller. Like, if I have the opportunity again to buy the same truck for $5,000 for 300,000, I would do it, even though I said 10 minutes ago I'm not buying any more used trucks because they're a waste of time. Because someone already tampered with it. I mean, it's hard to come by a clean truck, especially me with my busy schedule right now. I just don't have the time to go check out truck by truck by truck. You know, I'm a firm believer in Christ, and man, I really needed a truck back then when I was buying one. And this guy said 6,000 firm, I need to sell it today, and it was a good deal. And I drove that thing, and the front end was shot. I'm talking about my 99 of 300,000. I absolutely fell in love with that truck. I'm like, dude, this is my truck. 6-speed manual, inline 6 Cummins. You know, the body was clean. The body was clean for 300,000. You know, he had the buck shields up front. I think they had a chrome grill and chrome bumper, so that took care of the rocks really well. For the most part, it does. And the body was clean. The front end was shot. The clutch was very weak. But the engine ran fine. And what I was trying to tell you, I was a firm believer in Christ. The guy told me $6,000. Man, I didn't have money. I did not have any money on me or in my safe at that time. Well, not anything close to $6,000. People owed me money, and I just started my trucking company. I mean, that's another story for another time, guys. If you start a trucking company, you better have some money. Anywho's, I fell in love with this truck, and oh my God, I'm gonna offer this guy $5,250, and if he accepts it, I'll understand that it's a gift from you, and I will buy this truck. And we're done with the drive. I'm like, hey, I really like this truck. He's like, oh, really? And he just stays quiet. You know, really good professional guy. He's a professor. He used the truck just to commute on it, so I got lucky, and he towed his camper on the weekend. So anyways, I'm like, but I have to offer you $5,250. He's like, well, when I was coming out here, I told you I wouldn't take anything less than $6,000. I'm like, I hear you, and those were my intentions, but because I was literally gonna offer him $6,000 and talk to my buddies to get my money out of him. I don't know, man. I'm crazy. Right now, I've calmed down. Back then, I was crazy. I knew I was gonna get the money somehow. I didn't care how. I didn't know exactly how, but I knew I could get the money. Anyways, he looks at me. He's like, man, I've had so many phone calls. I have a huge list, and I mean, this is already Friday night, probably 8 p.m. or 8:30 p.m. And he has to be, 70 miles outside of Spokane at Dave Smith to pick up his brand new truck tomorrow morning, which is a Saturday. I don't know why I told him this. I'm like, hey, you have my number. Go ahead. Go waste your time. Go show the truck to all these people, but they're probably going to give you the same offer as me, so you might as well just sell it to me and skip the headache. Those are exactly the words I told him. And he stood there, looked at me, 30-second silence. He's like, okay, deal. He's like, tomorrow, I'll take this truck out to Dave Smith. Me and my wife will pick up my new truck, and on the way into town, I'll give you a call. We'll meet back here. And we met up, at Albertsons. And sure as heck, there's a slim chance I thought that the guy was going to back out of the deal. And when he said yes to $5,250, I mean, I usually don't make those kind of offers. It's nor here or there, usually rounded off hundreds. I called up my brother-in-law, I called up my buddies. I'm like, yo, I sort of need my money, and if you any way can get me the money, that'd be great. You know, like, I'm not putting you at gunpoint here, but I could really use my money right now. And I had no intentions of doing this to you guys, but I am where I am, so if you could help, great. If you can't, whatever, I understand. I'll move on. Go get the money elsewhere. Dude, both of the guys turned up. I got my money, and next day I went out and bought my truck. Barely made it to that 5250, but I made it. I bought the truck, and I never regretted it, you know? So that's a story I could tell, and that's a story I'm happy with. And rest of the trucks that I've bought used, I've dumped double or triple or quadruple the amount into them. They're just a freaking waste of money. They're just a huge black hole. You know, like, I bought my truck, my 99 truck was $5,000, you know, whatever. I put $700 into the front end, and shortly after I put $400 into the clutch and the flywheel. That's it. Never did anything. Oh no, I lied. End of my journey, 400-some thousand. The tranny needed to get rebuilt, and I rebuilt the tranny. Guys, that's it. I never did anything else to that truck. I'll push it over the edge, you know. I'll say 7.5 into this. I put well over 100,000 on that truck, and I couldn't be happier. And I expected the same once I went out, you know, after buying my new truck and realizing. And when I went out into the market, I'm like, dude, I gifted my truck. I sold my truck for $5,000 to a kid, an 18-year-old. I couldn't find anything that clean. I don't care about mileage. So keep it in mind, mileage is just leverage. If the truck was well taken care of. Like in my case, it was a single owner. Its whole life, the guy took care of it. As far as fluids, all he did is he hopped in his truck and went to Seattle, went to Wenatchee, and just commuted in it. You know, the government paid for his mileage. I think he paid him 60 cents a mile, so it had his coverage. He was safe in it, you know, all the 9 yards with the whole pass deal. But let's not go there, you know. It's awesome. It was a blessing, but for the most part, it's a waste of time. And I'll give you guys a little rundown. I have a 96 Dodge Ram, a 12-valve. I was at 15,000 a couple years ago. I'm pushing up 20,000 on that truck. I got a Ford, a 99 Ford. I'm pushing in and beyond money on that thing. I'm well over 20 on that one. I got a 2001 or 2002 white dually, the old dually. Dude, close to 20 grand into that. Why? Because guys like me that need to use their trucks, they need them in tip-top shape. But to get something in tip-top shape isn't cheap. So just start new and go for it. So that's my example. That's the advice I can tell you. If you're going to use that truck, and I mean use the truck, forget used, just go with the new. If you just need a pickup truck for your boat, your camper, yeah, go around, try to find yourself a clean example, and be careful. Because those trucks that I just mentioned, they all started at $5,000-$6,000 trucks. That's my advice, guys, and hopefully I'll get them videos rolling out to you guys. As always, may the Lord bless you. Y'all behave, and have a mighty fine day.